7 skies. So what would khalaqa be?
Oh, created, not
There
guided.
you go. Yeah,
Yes.
so there you go, right? So that's why waiting. I'm like, okay, let him read forward and then he'll figure out. Okay, great.
أنعامهم, the cattle, وأنفسهم, themselves, and themselves. أفلا, then do not. يبصرون, they see.
Okay, perfect. Mashallah. Okay, Sister Sumaya, what do you think?
كلما أرادوا أن يخرجوا, anytime they desire to leave it.
Okay, very good.
كذابنا.
Sorry, what is Nadir?
Oh, warner.
Warner, very good. Yes, Warner. So if you remember last time, we just had a very quick hint about how do you identify passive verbs. And we said that, okay, for present and future, you would have the second root letter would have a fatha. And then for the past, the second root letter would have a kasra. That's a good indication. Now, so I've compiled some other additional notes for further details. However, my theory at the moment is that the context of the verse itself will tell you if it is active or passive in general. Like it couldn't go one way or the other. And we'll test it out, right? So even if you were to translate it as active, your mind would tell you, hey, does active wouldn't make sense here? It has to be passive. Okay. Assuming you guys remember what's the difference between active verbs and passive verbs, right? Can someone share that in chat or with voice? What's the difference?
Passive is the subject, the object. No, the subject is not specifically named.
Correct. Yes, the subject or doer is not mentioned, and it's just talking about the action happening on the object. That's it. Okay. So here are some further hints, right? Generally, a passive verb would start with a dhamma. Okay, in this, what would happen is that the past tense starts with a fatha, but a past tense verb starting with a dhamma would be a hint for it to be passive. Example, ulima, right? This means that he was taught. A present passive starts with a dhamma and has multiple fathas. For example, yu'ridu is not passive. It starts with a dhamma, but the kasra on the ra means that it is active. The passive would have a fatha, yu'radu. Starts with dhamma and then ends up having a fatha. Okay. Passive does not mean, passive would not be applicable to a command, right? Because command is being given to someone to do or not do, so it wouldn't be applicable in a command scenario. Okay. Now here are further examples, more details to it again, just for completeness sake. I wouldn't worry about memorizing it or what have you. It's just there if you want to play around with it. So in a passive scenario, the sukoons remain the same. Okay, what ends up happening is that it starts with a dhamma and then you would have a kasra popping up. You would have a kasra popping up. So for example, if you look at these examples, ittakhadha, he took something. Uttukhidha. So see what happened? You changed it. You started with a dhamma and then you added a kasra on the second root letter. Qatalu, qutilu. You started with a dhamma and then you ended up having a kasra on the second. Ghalabat, ghulibat. Sami'tuma, sumi'tuma. Sumi'tuma. Okay, so here you're not getting a fatha anyways. Bashartunna, bushirtunna. Okay, so that's some example there. Now here are a Quranic example, right? So for example, aynama thuqifu ukhidhu wa qutilu taqtila. Okay, so whenever they were found, they were arrested and killed. Wherever they were found, they were arrested and killed. Yeah, I guess here you could potentially argue that, look, it could be, you could have an understanding of active as well. So I think, yeah, so sometimes having that understanding of if it's passive or not would be really useful, because here you could have translated into, if you didn't know that, you would have said, okay, wherever they would find, they would arrest and kill. right? As opposed, so they're doing it versus it's being done to them. Okay, however, in this situation, let's say قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. So may I follow you? So now you're both, actually, you have the active as well as the passive. تعلمني, so that you may teach me what you have been taught. So that you may teach me what you have been taught. And كذب رسل is if the other messengers were denied. Anyway, so I've just added this, and same thing for present. Basically, for present tense, what happens is that you would have a dhamma, and then you would end up having a kasra, sorry, a fatha, right? يخلقون يخلقون تسألاني تسألاني.
So let me clarify. So lahum gives it that these are the people.
No, okay, let me open a document here. Okay, so see, this is what's happening, right? Let's increase the font size here. Okay, so they will have X and Y, right? So this is one structure. They are A and B, right? So you see, this is two different ways of communication, right? So here you're saying that they will have, or you can also say for them will be. Right, so here, so there's two, like, for example, you have two things, you have a deal, you have a reward, and you're saying that these people would have these two things. So in this case, you have to use la, right? Here,
Right.
you are describing them, that they are, you know, successful, truthful, you know,
So are you-
rightly guided, yeah.
For lahum, it's their reward, and hum is like their attributes.
No, so lahum is the reward for them.
Right.
Right, it could be lakum too, right? It could be lakum, right? It could be anything, right? So the hum is just a pronoun, right? Then
Right.
what I'm trying to say is that la structure, you would use this, the la followed by a pronoun, if you're expressing a fact that they will have something. You're making a deal, you're promising a return, you're promising a reward, right? That, hey, if you come, if you do this assignment, you will have 10 points. Does that make
Okay.
sense? You
Adam-
will have, or for you will be 10 points.
And what about just the pronoun itself?
Then you're describing what they will become, what they will become, or what they will become, or what they are, right? So for example, the second scenario, right? This is the scenario, pronoun only. Okay, so the pronoun only scenario would be that they are successful, they are rightly guided.
Okay, I think I have to mull it over, but I think I got the concept.
Yes, right. So it's just you can say, actually, so you are able to say the same thing, but it's just a different way of expressing it. Right? So what happens in form 4, right? You're seeing what's happening here. For example, you have a hamza as part of the form in the past tense. You have a hamza as part of the form in the past tense. Okay, a sign of that is that the second letter, or the second letter in that word, or the first root letter would be in a sukoon state. Okay, and I'll give you two examples of that. So for example, one of the words we saw was fa'aslihu, so make peace, right? Wa aqsitu, and act justly, right? So usually it has a meaning of don't have it. I'll come. Okay. Okay, so as an example, maybe I should add it here. So as an example, one form of it is anzala, right? So here, yeah, so for example, yes, so you have akhraja. Yes, I think we have this example here, right? So for example, if you have kharaja, means he came out. Okay, but when you say akhraja, he brought out. Right? So for example, there's another common one like nazala, right? So if I say, he went down, I would say nazala. Okay, but if I'm saying, okay, I'm bringing it down, then I would say anzala, right? So if I'm describing my action, I'll say anzala, right? And if it's like its own action, right, I'll say, okay, nazala, right? This is just going on its own. Okay, does that make sense? If not, I can just repeat it in different ways as well.
Sure.
Sorry, okay, does anybody would like me to repeat that?
Yes.
Okay, so first thing I'm saying is that there's a form. So we said, remember, there's different forms of the verb. So one form we saw is called form 2, where basically the second root letter gets doubled, right? That's the form. Okay, another common form in Quran is the form 4, which is basically you would always have a hamza coming before the word. Hamza always coming before. I mean, hamza is part of that structure. It's part of the template, right? Whatever it is, it's aslama, akhraja, anzala. There's always a hamza there. Okay, so that's my statement number 1. Okay, so is that statement clear that it's a form? So the sister was asking the question about where were we here? Okay, so this ara'aytum is a question, and you can see that the ra has a fatha, it doesn't have a sukun. However, the other examples is asbaha here.
It's
This is
the same. Yeah.
This is form 4. Okay, ahlakani, it's also form 4, right? And you see that the first root letter has a what? Sukun in
Sukun.
ahlakani, and here also you have a sukun. So this is form 4. This is not a question.
Making it past. Past. We see that form, is that because it looks like it's
Yes.
past. He submits.
Both are past. Araitum is
Yeah,
also past, and this is also past. Yes.
Okay. Alhamdulillah.
And then the second thing I was saying is, what is the difference? Okay, what is the difference? Like one of the things that it does is, so we were looking at one example. Okay, so maybe I need to add another example that's better. Example, nazala, where is this? Anzala. He sent down. Okay, and nazala, he came down. Okay, I'm just going to skip this to not. Okay, so these are two things that come. Let's just quickly grab snapshots of this anyways while we're at it. Quran dictionary. Boom. Noon. Zai. Where is Zai? Sorry, my screen is flipped here. Go. Okay, so here you have nazala, and we have if I can find an example of nazala bihi ruhul amin. Where is that in Quran? Nazala bihi ruhul amin ala qalbika. Where is this?
Assalamu alaikum. I think we have the words in Surah Al-Qadr. Inna anzalnahu fi.
Yeah, that's anzal, right? I'm looking at, okay, so nazala bihi ruhul amin. I can just look it up. Nazala bihi ruhul amin. Where does that come? Okay, 26,193. I just need to find 26,193. 26. That's how you figure out stuff. Live figuring. Okay, 26 is here. What is 193? Okay, so that's your nazala. Okay, that's not. It's saying, yeah, that wouldn't fit. Okay, I need to think about it. Maybe I'll find some. But anyway, so this is hopefully clear, right? So one of the meaning that, so I think from kharaja and akhraja is clear. Kharaja, he came out, and akhraja, he caused something to come out.